So you cannot tell me that scene where Yuji was like Hellfire Demise was not freaking badass. Like, that was such a cool ass moment for Yuji there. Like, I was like, yes, let's effing go, freaking plus ultra, bro. Like, Yuji taking on that dragon alone was super dope. Like, all of it. So originally, like, obviously Hellfire Demise is like his like go-to move, essentially, that kind of keeps coming up over and over again. It's even the same move that he ended up using to save the Dryad, which I'll talk about that in a little bit. But, you know, that specific scene of him just going out and using Hellfire Demise on the dragon, using it on the dragon's eye, then using God's divine power, divine God's power or something. He uses like a divine spell, which I don't know if you guys caught it, but like when Yuji goes back to the village, you know, and then the guildmaster comes and talks to Yuji, he's like, "Oh yeah, we know that the dragon was defeated because the priest or whatever was like, he felt it." So that specific spell that Yuji decided to use must have had like some kind of holy affinity, whether it was like holy divine this or whatever. It must have had some kind of like holy affinity to it, to where like the priest could pick up on the holiness in the sky, essentially. And I also love how the guildmaster was like, "Hey, don't be afraid to go and tell the guild, you know, hey, need help getting the dragon, you know." And I was like, yeah, that's so cool. Basically, long story short is everybody knows that Yuji was the one that went to go did it. No one's saying it out loud, but they're like, yo, who else could it have been? They know that it was Yuji for sure. So I love all of that. I love watching the whole entire battle. I love the little bit of SAKUGA that we got there. I thought that was really good and really, really well done. I thought it was really well animated. I got hype. So I'm throwing that energy out there. I got hype during that battle. I thought it was really, really dope. And then obviously we have Yuji going back to the village, not necessarily being recognized, but then the dragon being defeated, the dragon dropping its blood or essence or whatever on the ground, which got mushrooms to spur up, which then the Dryad called an emergency. Yuji went to, you know, go check out the emergency. The emergency, quote unquote, was the mushrooms being done. And we gathered all the mushrooms and we found out that those crystals may have been, you know, the crystals that Yuji's been finding and dispelling constantly around the world, that may have been part of the dragon's essence or whatever, which is really cool to see and really cool to think about. That, you know, there's other dragons within this world, and Yuji is going to be stumbling upon more of these kinds of things. And the Dryad did help him create I think MP and HP potions out of the mushrooms that were found, which is really cool as well. So now he's going to have different restoratives as he kind of goes on his adventure. Then we got the Dryad backstory with how he met the Dryad. He basically just stumbled upon her as she was withering away somewhere. And apparently someone basically effed up her forest and put one of those stones. And then we move forward. Yuji stumbles upon some weird village in the fog as he's going on to the next village. And that town essentially is the town of villains, essentially. And we find out that they're going to go and try and collect some of the dragon essence for evil as well. And then we stumble upon the actual town, whatever the town they're going to next. We stumble upon the town he's going to next, and it looks like hellfire had raised, or, you know, I don't want to say, no pun, but fire had raised. It looks like it's just burned. It looks like ash. It looks like a town of ash, or maybe it's just snowed in or something, but it's definitely not the beautiful village that the two girls at the last village were depicting that it was going to be. So definitely, as we kind of move forward into our adventure, a lot of interesting things that are going to happen to next. We're going to see him go on to this next village or this next town, and see what that ends up becoming. The reason he's heading to this town, he specifically asked the girls, like, hey, if there's nothing weird going on in this specific area, because he's trying to go to somewhere normal And obviously, he just stumbled upon something very weird here happening as well. So can't wait for the next adventure. But man, I really love this anime so far. It's really good. I love the slimes. I love how they all have character. I love how Yuji keeps using them. Like, he just keeps tossing them and throwing them. He uses them to distill water. He uses them for all kinds of different shenanigans. He keeps leaving slimes behind as he visits other towns and areas. Like, he left 3 slimes, I think, protecting the 2 girls. Watch over them, keep a watchful eye. He has the Dryad to kind of look over all the forest. He left slimes back in the last town that he was in, where he defeated all those monsters and stuff. He left slimes there. So as he's traveling, he has like this connecting network of slimes that he has, including the Dryad, which is really cool too. But overall, really, really good episode. Really enjoyed it. Love seeing the backstory of the Dryad. Love seeing him defeat the dragon. Love seeing his interaction. I kind of hoped that he took the girls with him, but he didn't end up taking them, which was a surprise for me. But I guess he doesn't want to drag people into his mess or whatever. I don't know, whatever reason he had, he didn't want to take them with him. But I was hoping that he would. I think they'll definitely be reoccurring characters within the anime. They'll definitely come back at some point. And then I can't wait to see what happens next as he makes his way to Roppongi or whatever the hell this town is called. But regardless, I'm going to see you guys next week for more my Isekai life. And thank you guys for joining me for another week, and I'll see you next week. Peace out, guys.